Greetings, everybody. This is Leviathan here, and today, long time no talk, but I'm back. I've got a video for you covering the PTR for patch 2.7.1, which will also coincide with season 24. 24 seasons, crazy. So this PTR just went live yesterday, June 17th. So now that we've gotten to play around with it a little bit, I did a little messing around with it last night. I wanted to just give you a brief overview of what the PTR is all about, the new items and things to look forward to in the season, and also a little bit of the class balance that they did, because there's not too much here, but there is some interesting stuff. And I'll be doing a bunch of videos covering sort of the specific aspects, like a full coverage on Ethereals, maybe some of my testing on the monk with Innas and things like that. But at least in this video, you'll get kind of a brief overview of everything. And there will be a link to these notes in the video description in case you want to check them out in more totality for yourself. So in any case, it's your typical PTR. Like I said, went live yesterday. It's going to be live for 2 weeks, so you have until basically the end of June to test it out. There will be the typical buffs active for it, so you get your increased legendaries, your increased experience, increased blood shards, dank meme is there, and I did mention Ethereals. We'll talk about exactly what they are, but you can purchase bags from dank meme that will get you Ethereals, so you'll be able to test them very easily. Did mention there is some class balance. Monk got increased, got a buff with Innas. However, there are nerfs, and the Crusader's Aegis of Valor and the Necromancer's Masquerade of the Burning Carnival set both got brought down some, because they were both really good previously. Alright, so this is all just, how do you test, what should you test, bugs, reporting, all that stuff, so we can skip that. But here's some of the flavor of what they're doing here for Season 24 with the theme, which is Ethereals. It's going to be a new weapon type that you can acquire and hunt for. There's a bunch of stats here on exactly how they work. But basically the idea is, like, if you know Ethereals from D2, they don't work quite like that in D3, but the idea in D2 was that they were like extra powerful versions of items. However, you couldn't repair them. So like once they broke, they were gone, and that was it. In D3, they're kind of taking the more powerful route, but they don't break, so you get to keep them. However, you will be searching for them pretty much all season long, because there's a lot of RNG that goes into them. They will have a random class weapon legendary power. And apparently this pool seems to be a bit limited, so it'll have, like, for the Demon Hunter, which is what I played on the PTR so far, some of the powers, like for Carly's Point, which is actually kind of unfortunate. We'll talk about that in a moment. Dawn, some of the other one-handed crossbows like Fortress Ballista, things like that, so you get some of those powers, and you even get some of the generic ones. Like I got one for Echoing Fury, so you get that frenzy on kill. I saw one for Ingeom's power, so you get the cooldown reduction on elite kill, things like that. So some pretty useful ones, and apparently like ones that aren't that great also were excluded. So if that is the case, then maybe we can look at fine-tuning the pool even more so to make sure that powers that just won't be useful won't get in there. And then random class passes. So any passive that's available to your class, one of those will be able to roll on the Ethereal as well. So you can already see there's some layers of RNG here. It's going to be a hunt. It is going to be a long hunt. They do have their own unique icons. They look really cool. I'm about to hop into the actual PTR and show you what they look like after we go through the details here. They're just really well done. They look really cool. So they will be account bound. Here are the rules of Ethereals. Account bound can only be dropped by monsters, chests, and destructibles, and they do not require your character to be level 70. This is actually one of the, pardon me, one of the cool things here is that you can actually find these while you're leveling. So on opening night, if you hit the jackpot and get an Ethereal, like, you are off and rolling. You can turn the difficulty up. You'll be killing, one-shotting stuff in high difficulties, because these are basically, they're not like, they scale down, I should say. So when you're in sub-level 70, they're not as powerful as their 70 versions, but they come with just a truckload of stats and multipliers to your power, so you will be much stronger than you normally are. And this could be like before your level 40 reduced weapon, right? So you can actually hop up to like a T1 or something super early and just mow through enemies. So this will be great if you can get it to drop that early. The rarity of them is that they're between the drop rate of Ancients and Primals, and so you can kind of think like, well, 1 out of every 10 Ancients, 1 out of every 10 legendaries is supposed to be Ancients, and then the primal drop rate is supposed to be like 0.25% of legendaries. So that's a big gap of where it could be. We're guessing that's probably going to be like 5%. When I was leveling, and again, it's weird on PTR because there's accelerated rates of everything, but when I was leveling, I got 5 Ethereals from 1 to 70. So maybe I'll get 1 potentially while leveling. So maybe it could be a difference maker, but they're really going to impact the game at level 70. It's just kind of cool that at least you could see one before you hit 70. So there's 3 for each class, and they have fixed affixes. And we did talk about the legendary power and the class passive. Those are random. So the fixed affixes are kind of interesting. There are a bunch of them. It's probably, well, I guess we'll finish the rules. I'll just keep teasing you. I keep wanting to show them to you, but I'll just keep teasing you just a little bit longer. So there's 3 per class. So that's 21 overall, 7 classes times 3. There is something interesting about collecting them all in just a moment. You can only have 1 ethereal equipped at a time. So there are some that are one-handed, and that means you could, if your class can dual wield, you'd be like, "Ooh, I can wear 2," but you are limited to only wearing 1. They do not have durability loss, so that's kind of a difference from your typical Ethereals of D2. The legendary powers and class passive skills rolled on the Ethereals don't stack with the powers that you might have equipped in the cube or on your character. So don't think you're going to get like, 2 times Dawn or something like that. It's pretty similar rules to what we've always had in the past, where you can only benefit from it once. So make sure you're not stacking it and not benefiting from, one of your powers. They cannot be enchanted, transmogged, dyed, reforged, or traded. So this is something you're going to have to find on your own through playing the game, which I think is kind of cool. Again, you can't make them in the cube. You can't craft them. They are only dropped. So you basically have to go fight monsters like in GRs and stuff. And then you can't trade them either, so you can't rely on somebody just getting them all and then giving them to you, Or even if you're in a party with other players, it's actually kind of a funny moment. You could be like, "Oh, I just got an Ethereal," and everyone's just like super jealous because they can't do anything with it and you have it. So yeah, this is like the collector's items, I guess. You can augment them, so they are basically like the ancient tier, if you will, so that you can put a Call to Sun's Despair on them, get more main stat out of them. And then here's the collection part I was talking about. So if you get all 21 Ethereals during Season 24, then you will get a feat of strength called Ethereal Recollection. Players that do accomplish this will have all of the Ethereal transmog options available for future seasonal and non-seasonal play. The reward functionality is not available during this PTR. And the reason that this is important is because Ethereals are going to be season only, and they will not transfer to non-seasonal. They're actually going to void them when the season ends. So this is a Season 24 exclusive, and this is the first time we're really seeing something like this, which makes me personally very excited, because that means kind of like the sky's the limit in the future. Now they've figured out how to void items so they don't transfer over into non-seasonal. In future seasons, they can go kind of crazy with introducing a whole slate of like just crazy powerful items or like interesting, I don't know, reagents or something, and have no fear of like, ooh, what happens if this stays in the game, and just create things that are momentary. And I think this is a good hook to get people to play this season, because just we're coming off of a season right now in Season 23 where people don't even feel like they really want to play the season, because the follower change was for season and non-seasonal, so there was no seasonal hook per se, besides fresh leaderboards and conquests and stuff. So this is cool. You're going to want to play Season 24. You're going to want to try to get all 21 Ethereals if you care about carrying that transmog forward, or if you just like collecting feats of strength and achievements and all that stuff. So I like that. Again, and just rounding out season stuff, there will be 2 unique new rewards. So I guess those like pets or wings. Portrait frame. Oh, and they do mention a pet that'll be granted to players who complete the Guardian Journey. We can't see them on this PTR. It's pretty similar to last PTR, where I guess I was thinking maybe the assets weren't ready or whatever, but it seems like this is now what they're doing. They want to just like hide what the new thing will be. My guess is they're really on this D2 kick, so it'll probably be like D2 related or something, since we also now know that D2 Resurrected is coming out at the end of September. Is it September 23rd, I believe? So they're really trying to, get the ball rolling, get people hyped for D2 Resurrected. So I'm imagining most things will tie into that these days. So, okay. I've teased you long enough. Let's just go and take a little look at some Ethereals, all right? So, again, I was playing just a little bit last night, got to 70. Again, I said you can get them from Dank Meme. So if you have, 50 blood shards, then you just grab this bag of fortune, and this is where all 3 of them will pop out for you for your class. So this is what they kind of look like. You can see it's like the old school D2 Wind Force, the old school Bariza, and then we have a Doomslinger here as well. So we have a one-handed crossbow for Demon Hunter, a two-handed crossbow, and then a two-handed bow. So you can see, look at that, a truckload of stats, right? So it's way more than usual, very similar to like a D2 item where it would just have a huge list of stats. You can see though that the ranges are variable. So that's what I mean when I say that these are going to take a long time to perfect throughout the course of a season, because you have a random legendary power, a weapon power, a random class passive, and then randomness on getting the right stats. What's weird to me here on the Wind Force is it rolls with strength. Maybe that's like a legacy thing from D2's Wind Force. Although I don't, a strength even? No. I don't know. I don't remember right now. But yeah, that's weird. I don't know why strength is on here. Feels like that's a bit of a wasted stat for a Demon Hunter. Would like to see that change. There is the typical knockback that you would have from a Wind Force. There's movement speed here as well. Kind of some not that great stuff. However, there is this interesting affix, well, two of them really, if you see at the bottom. 200% damage to all archery skills, and then +1 to maximum damage per Paragon level up to 800. So there are new affixes that they added to these things. We'll definitely see how they play out as the PTR goes on, just how powerful they'll be, and if these get tweaked any at all. But you can see these can definitely roll some serious power, some firepower, and even the attack speed roll is beyond the normal, right? Normally you would see like 7%, goes up to 15 here. Kind of reminds me of original D3, where you'd have the 15% values. I think maybe even like 20% was some of the highest ones. So we're kind of getting back to that. A little legacy. So for the Bariza, you can see here, pretty similar as well. Increased attack speed roll, 150% damage to all Demon Hunter skills. And what the community has found out from this is that it doesn't technically work the way that it sounds. It actually is just a multiplier to your sheet damage. So if you throw this on, it just brings your sheet damage up by 150%. So it kind of like says like with a flavor that it increases the skills, but really just like multiplies your damage. That's pretty cool. Also the chance to freeze on here, which is like your classic Bariza, and then the same Paragon thing as well. And then for the Doomslinger, that increased attack speed. We actually have a really good Doomslinger here. This would be pretty nice for GOD maybe. It comes with that. We have area damage, 100% damage to all Demon Hunter skills, so basically double your damage. And then cooldown, resource costs. So there's some things here that look like they could be pretty good. I don't know about the attack speed and like the breakpoints of GOD and stuff like that. Might be worth doing some theory crafting there. But yeah, that's just a quick preview for you guys on how the Ethereals look for the Demon Hunter. And again, like I said, I will go ahead and do a video in the future that covers all the Ethereals. We'll talk about them, things we could improve, change, etc. So just a little preview for you there. And then, like I was mentioning, the Inna's Monk got some love, so they had to change some items around with it as well, and also skills too. So the Mystic Ally Fire Ally splits into 2 instead of 5, but now all Fire Allies can split, and damage radius has been slightly increased, damage increased as well, quite a bit, you can see. Also, Mystic Ally Earth Ally got some damage increase, quite a bit as well. The Wizard, I think this is just like a quality of life thing, mirror image icon now displays a counter to display how many mirror images are active. So that's nice, you can track those. I've heard that it actually isn't the case for the allies. So the monks are kind of like, hey, you just figured out that this works with mirror images and people wanted that. So why not do that with the Mystic Allies too? Because you need to have the count of them as well, due to how they change the Inna's 6-piece. And we'll talk about that right now. So you can see Inna's got some love. The 4-piece set gains the base effect of all 4 mantras at all times, similar to what it used to be. You gain 5% damage reduction for each Mystic Ally you have out. Mystic Allies no longer take damage, so they last forever. And also you get 5% damage reduction. So this is new because previously didn't have a damage reduction. That's very nice. And then on the 6-piece, you gain the passive abilities of the 5 ruined Mystic Allies at all times. Attacking enemies creates your chosen Mystic Ally, and it lasts 15 seconds up to 10 Mystic Allies. The damage of your Mystic Allies is increased by 950% for each one that you have out. So you can see that's why there is going to be that bouncing of a range of how many Mystic Allies you have, which is why you would want to be able to track them. It's also weird because now your defense isn't static. It's got to bounce up and down based on how many Mystic allies you have out. So it's going to be kind of weird, and you have to attack enemies to make them too. So even though they don't die, they only last for 15 seconds. You have to attack to get them out. So you're basically like, I have no damage reduction. Let me go in and attack. Really? Sounds kind of scary. So I don't know about that, but they like to do this sometimes where they have these dynamic damage reductions and whatnot. I think it's okay to be dynamic for the offense, for the damage output, but for the damage reduction, I don't know. Prudis Boots also got some love. Mystic Ally summons 2 Mystic Allies that fight by your side. They deal 300 to 400, so a range there, increased damage, and are able to attack with their active forms longer. No duration there, but I'm sure the community will figure out what that means, for how much longer. Bindings of the Lesser Gods, also enemies hit by your Cyclone Strike take 300% to 400% increased damage from Mystic Allies for 5 seconds. Split Fire Allies gain 5 times this bonus. So you can see they're really pushing the Fire Ally to be the one that's kind of your main damage dealer, which is based on how they changed up here, and then also this synergy with the Bracers. So I guess that's, you can kind of see how the build's forming in your head, right? And people are saying that it's a pretty good build, like seeming right now to be a very good speed build for monks, like speed GRs and such. But right now the biggest thing, as per usual, is AI. The Mystic Allies just don't really do what you want them to do, and maybe are a little slow and such. So there could be issues there, but maybe they will be able to smarten them up by the time this actually goes to live, or at least give us, the players, some way to control kind of where they attack and things. Could be nice. And then, of course, no one likes to talk about nerfs, but there are a few. So Aegis of Valor 2-piece set, attacking with Fists of the Heavens empowers you, allowing Heaven's Fury to deal 125% increased damage for 5 seconds, stacks up to 3 times. So basically what I heard here is that they just took away a lot of power from this 2-piece. So it's not going to, empower your Fist of the Heavens nearly as much, which means, your Heaven's Fury nearly as much. So that means basically that you shouldn't climb as high as you have been able to in the past on AoV, but I imagine it'll still be a really strong build because it was just already so powerful even after multiple nerfs to multiple different parts of the set, or of the build. I don't know. We'll see how this stacks up. I haven't played AoV in ages, but the last time I played it, I remember it being quite strong. And then Masquerade of the Burning Carnival is the Bone Spear Necro. The 6-piece set got changed, so now Bone Spear cast by you and your Simulacrums deals 6,000% increased damage. I think they just brought this number down. I wish they showed the changes for those of us that don't have them memorized. But also I could have just looked it up beforehand, but I didn't. So in any case though, I'm imagining as well that this is also just trying to bring the damage down from the stratosphere to just the hemisphere maybe, or I don't know, science words, to make it not as good. So we'll see. I imagine that, again, still, these sets were just performing so well previously that they'll still be good, just not insane. And that's it, like I said. So there's not that much to the PTR itself. Just, the things to test are going to be obviously Innas. If you like Crusader or Necro, see how badly off you might be now. And then obviously the Ethereals is going to be a big focus for a lot of players to get those to be good and usable, and hopefully actually replace some of the weapons that you might typically use in your builds, because that's the idea, right? You want them to be good enough to actually make a replacement to something that seems like a staple to your build right now. And that probably will be the case for a bunch of them, because having multipliers on there, just straight up like doubling your sheet damage and stuff, is going to make a huge difference for just power output based on some of the other legendaries that you could equip at this moment. So I think this is looking like it's going to be spicy. It's looking like it's going to be good. Let me know your thoughts. Hop into the comments. Let me hear from you guys on what you've done in the PTR so far, what you're curious to see in the PTR, what you like, don't like. I want to hear everything. I will be, again, delivering a couple more videos to you guys about what I discover. So definitely stay tuned to the channel, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching this one. And for now, adios.